Adebisi sat on the hospital bed exhausted but filled with joy. After undergoing IVF, she had finally given birth to her son Tofa. Tears of happiness rolled down her cheeks as she held his tiny fingers in hers. "You will have the best life," she whispered. "I will give you everything I never had." Adebisi had grown up in poverty. She lost her parents young and struggled through school with the help of relatives who never truly cared for her. Now, as a single mother, she was determined to give her son a life of comfort. She had worked hard and started a business that flourished, allowing her to live in a big house and afford the best things in life. Adebisi subscribed to the school of thoughts that no man should control her, so she decided not to get married, but instead paid a sperm donor for artificial insemination. From the moment Tofa could talk, she made sure he never lacked anything. He had the most expensive toys, the best clothes, and a room filled with everything a child could dream of. But what Adebisi didn't realize was that love without discipline could be dangerous. Tofa was 5 when Adebisi first noticed something troubling. She had taken him to a friend's house for a visit. While playing with another child, Tofa snatched a toy car from the boy and pushed him to the floor. Adebisi was shocked. "Tofa, say sorry to him." Tofa folded his hands and shouted, "No." The boy's mother frowned. "Adebisi, you need to correct him." But Adebisi laughed, brushing it off. "Oh, he's just a child. Boys are like that." She hugged Tofa, kissed his forehead, and gave him her phone to play with. The boy's mother shook her head. "You should be careful, my sister. If you don't correct him now, he will grow wings." But Adebisi didn't listen. She even felt offended that her friend was advising her on how to raise her own child. By the time Tofa turned 10, his behaviour had worsened. He refused to do homework, talked back to his teachers, and bullied other students. One day, his school principal called Adebisi. "Madam, we need to talk about Tofa's behaviour." Adebisi frowned. "What happened?" The principal sighed. "Your son fought with a teacher. We can't allow this." Adebisi said, "My son? No way. That must be a mistake." "There's no mistake here, madam. We have warned him several times, but he refuses to listen. If this continues, we have no choice but to expel him." Adebisi left the school angry, not at Tofa, but at the teachers and the school in general. "They are just jealous," she muttered. "My son is a prince." That night, she hugged Tofa tightly and whispered, "No one will ever hurt you. I will always protect you." She didn't realize that she was protecting him from the worst things. Despite everything, his behavior continued, and his mother encouraged him. Tofa was expelled from school 6 months later. Adebisi was heartbroken, but instead of disciplining him, she found a private school that accepted him without questions. When he finished, she sent him to a prestigious private university. "This is your chance, Tofa. This is your chance to make me proud," she told him. Tofa nodded. But the moment he arrived on campus, he joined a notorious gang. His grades were poor, and soon he was expelled from the university too. Adebisi refused to believe it. "They just don't understand my son," she told her friends. When people advised her to be friends with him, she snapped. "You all don't understand him. People don't understand Tofa's personality." She went on and on, talking about his temperament and zodiac signs. So when Tofa returned home from the university, she welcomed him with open arms. By the time Tofa was 25, He had become a man who believed he could get anything he wanted, especially from his mother. He never worked. Instead, he came up with endless business ideas. "Mom, I want to start a clothing business," he would say. Without hesitation, Adebisi would transfer money into his account. Months later, the money would be gone. "Mommy, I want to invest in real estate." Adebisi would make another transfer, and nothing came out of it. Tofa started bringing different girls home, and Adebisi said nothing. She told herself, boys will be boys. He just enjoyed his youthful age. But soon, she started noticing something disturbing. Tofa was becoming aggressive. One day, Adebisi made the mistake of saying no. Tofa had asked for money, 2 million naira for a new business idea. She had sighed and said, "Tofa, I can't keep giving you money like this. You need to be responsible." Tofa's face darkened. "What did you just say, Mom?" Adebisi's heart pounded. I said no. I cannot keep giving you money." Before she could react, Tofa grabbed a chair and flung it against the wall. "You will give me that money," he shouted. Adebisi was shocked. "Tofa, what has gotten into you?" But he wasn't listening. For the first time, she saw something terrifying in his eyes. He was no longer her little boy. He was a man who believed he owned her. That night, she locked her room door and cried. She had created a monster, and now she didn't know how to stop him. A week later, Tofa came home with a new request. "I need 7 million naira," he said. Adebisi looked at him in disbelief. 7 million? "Tofa, are you out of your mind?" He frowned. "It's for business, Mom." Adebisi shook her head. "I don't have it. I don't have it." Tofa's jaw tightened. "You do." He grabbed her phone, unlocked her banking app, and showed her balance. "You have more than double that amount," he sneered. Adebisi's hands trembled. "It's my money, Tofa. It's my money. You go work for yours." Tofa's eyes darkened. "Give it to me now." "No," Adebisi said, but with fear in her eyes. The moment the words left her lips, she saw something change in his expression, something dangerous. That night, Adebisi had a meeting. As she stepped out, she saw Tofa standing next to her car. In one hand, he held a gallon of fuel. In the other hand, he held his cigarette. "Tofa," she said slowly, "what are you doing?" He frowned. "Give me the money now, or I'll set your car on fire." Adebisi's heart pounded. She shook her head. "You must be out of your mind." She pushed him slightly and got into the car. Tofa didn't hesitate. He opened the fuel canister and poured it over the car. Adebisi looked at him. "Tofa, stop this madness." Soon, he held up his cigarette. Her breath caught in her throat. "Tofa, no, what are you doing?" Before she could say anything, he tossed it. There was a spark and then a burst of fire. The flames engulfed the car instantly. Adebisi screamed as the heat hit her. She fumbled for the door handle, but it was too late. The fire spread too fast. The last thing she saw was Tofa's face, cold and unbothered. And then there was darkness. The fire's glow lit up the night as people rushed out of their houses screaming. Some tried to get close, but the flames were too fierce. Tofa stood there, frozen, watching his mother burn. His cigarette pack in his hand. His hands were shaking. He didn't expect it to happen so fast. Someone from the crowd shouted, "Call the fire service! Call the police!" But deep down, Tofa knew it was too late. Adebisi was gone. For the first time, fear gripped him. He had always believed his mother would never turn against him. That no matter what he did, she would always forgive him, love him and shield him. Now, she was dead, and he had killed her. Panic set in. Tofa turned and ran. His mind was racing. If the police caught him, he would spend the rest of his life in prison, or even worse. He needed a plan. He grabbed his car keys and drove off into the night, his hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly. Tofa knew his mother had money in different bank accounts. He would leave the country, maybe head to Ghana or even South Africa. But deep down, he knew he would never truly run from what he had done. But as he drove, his mother's last words, "Tofa, no, no," and her scream echoed in his head. She had given him everything, and he had repaid her with death. By morning, the police had blocked off the house. The burnt car was still smoking as officers searched the area. Detective Fola, a seasoned officer, examined what was left. This fire was deliberate, he muttered. This wasn't an accident. A witness came forward. A neighbor who had seen Tofa standing with a fuel gallon. I saw him pour the fuel. I saw him throw the cigarettes," the man said, shaking his head. Detective Fola frowned. "Where is he now?" He's gone. He drove off after the fire started." Detective Fola said, "Don't worry, we'll find him. He wouldn't have gone so far." Tofa thought he was smart. He turned off his phone. He withdrew cash using his mother's ATM cards. But he underestimated the power of his mother's name. News of Adebisi's death spread fast. She had been known as a well-known businesswoman. Loved by many, her story made headlines. A successful businesswoman set ablaze by her only son. A mother's love ends in flames. Son wanted for mother. Those were the headlines. By the second day, the police had alerted every airport and border checkpoint. Tofa was a wanted man. Tofa hid in a small motel, reckless and paranoid. He had just one person left to call, his best friend Dakbo. "Dakbo, I need your help," he whispered over the phone. Dakbo sighed. "You messed up, bro. You messed up big time." "I know, but please, just help me get out of the country." There was a long silence. Then Dakbo said, "All right. Meet me at the old warehouse by 11 p.m. Tofa sighed in relief. "Thanks, man. Thank you so much." What he didn't know was that Dakbo had already called the police. Tofa arrived at the warehouse. He saw Dakbo standing there, but something felt off. Then he heard sounds from police vehicles. Bright light flashed through the warehouse doors. Police cars surrounded him. Tofa turned to run, but the officers tackled him to the ground. "Let me go! Let me go!" Tofa screamed. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it." Detective Fola loomed over him. "Your mother gave you life, and you took hers. How heartless can you be? You will never see the outside world again, I promise you." Tofa stopped struggling. For the first time, reality hit him. His mother was gone, and his life was over. At Adebisi's funeral, people wept. They whispered among themselves, "She loved him so much. She never disciplined him. She created her own monster." Adebisi had given her son everything, except the one thing he needed the most, discipline. And in the end, she had paid the ultimate price. As Tofa sat in his prison cell, staring at the walls, he finally understood. But it was too late.